Hi everyone, we welcome you all to this Week Tech Tuesday webinar on Implement Parameter Set in IICS. Today's speaker is Pawan Kumar, who is a senior consultant from Informatica Professional Services. Before we start the session, let's go through some of the housekeeping tips. The webinar is for 1 hour that includes 15 minutes Q&A. You can post your queries in Q&A box which will be answered at the end of the presentation. All participants will be muted during the presentation. The session will be recorded and it will be available on our InfoSupport YouTube channel and Success Portal where you will be able to download the slide deck. Please feel free to submit your suggestion or feedback for this session in the post-webinar survey. Success Portal is a micro-learning platform that offers free, unlimited learning to all the registered users. This feature-rich platform helps you learn and adopt to Informatica products better. The following are a few important links that you can go over later. This will help you in your product adoption journey with Informatica. Over to you, Pawan. Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. This is Pawan Kumar, and I'm Senior Consultant in IPS. So today I'm going to discuss about the parameter set in IICS. The agenda of this presentation is to discuss the overview of parameter set, different scenario where they can be used, what is the prerequisite, what is the param set CLI utility, and how do you use this in the parameter set, what are the configuration that is involved, how do you implement this in the task flow, and some various rules and guidelines which we should be aware of. And at the end, I will demo you how do we use that in the task flow. So what is this parameter set? Parameter set is the list of parameters and the values that you can configure in the task flow. And so you can assign a parameter set to provide values for the task flow as input parameters, and you can use the parameter set to define values that you want to update without having to edit the task flow. The task flow reads parameter from the parameter set, and that when the task flow runs, the values are applied. So you can reuse parameter set across multiple task flow, and you can also define parameters for subflow task steps and data task step in a task flow. So basically, if you want to reuse the parameter set, you have to define the local and the global parameters within the parameter set. So what is the difference between the parameter files and the parameter set? So any parameter that you define in the mapping task or the mapping in the IICS, they can be defined in the values can be assigned in the parameter file, and that parameter file is stored locally on any file server, and where the data integration service jobs run, right? But any parameter that you define at the task flow level, which is very specifically used at the task flow level, they can be assigned through the parameter set. And then all this parameter set, basically they are uploaded to the Informatica Managed Cloud hosted repository, and we upload it through param set CLI utility, which we will see further in the presentation. And as I said earlier, this parameter set can be used for the sub task flows as well as the data task step. So there are some scenarios where we can use this parameter set. Like as I said, if you want to assign any parameter values for which is defined at the task flow level, you have to use the parameter set. Similarly, if there are subtasks within the task flow, and if you are using some parameter within that subtask flow, then they can also be assigned through the parameter set. And then if you want to assign a parameter file path as well as the parameter file name for any data task, very well, you can provide the path and the file name inside that parameter set, and that parameter set you can and then the value, you can assign that into the data task with assignment task, and then basically that task will take that values from that parameter set. Probably will show you further in the slide, but that's how you can avoid this override. I mean, you can avoid any hard coding over there. Otherwise, like there is no way that you can avoid the hard coding of the parameter file path as well as the file name. So what is the prerequisite for parameter set? By default, the parameter set feature is not enabled for any org. So you have to request CSM to enable the parameter set feature for that particular org where you want to enable it. And once it gets enabled, you will see this option over there in the start task, which will say the parameter set under the start tab. And for this parameter set, you will need Java in your system to be installed if you want to upload any parameter set to the cloud. And also you will require parameter set CLI utility, and then the parameter set has to be uploaded to the cloud hosted repository for it to be read by the task flow. And then obviously you will need the parameter set different sections which has to be defined within the parameter set, and each section is preceded by a heading that identifies which project or folder or asset you want to apply that parameter to. So this is the different format that we can provide in that parameter set. So use section is the one which is like a mandatory one which has to be applied. If you don't apply this use section, then the task flow will consider all the parameters here as the global parameter. And then anything that you want to declare global, you have to define it under the global. And then, yeah, this is all different sections that you can define within that parameter set. The parameter set CLI is a command line interface utility through which we will we can perform different actions on the parameter set file. When like you can upload that to the cloud hosted repository, or you can download it from there, you can delete it, or you can list it. So all these actions can be performed through this param set CLI utility, which is a command line utility. So what are all the different configuration involved? So the first thing that I already discussed is like you need Java in your environment from where you want to upload that parameter set. Then you can download the parameter set CLI utility zip, and then you can unzip it to some directory where you want to install it. So basically it's not like a installation as such, but it just you unzip those parameter set CLI utility stuff, and it will just unzip all the binaries into a particular folder and you can start using it. And then when you unzip it, it comes with some property file, and out of that there is one property file called rest env.properties where we have to modify some of the values, and this is located under install directory paramset CLI. In this property file, you have to pass your cloud the IICS username and the password, and when you pass the password, you can pass either the plain password or the encrypted password. So if you want to send an encrypted password, below is the way or the command to encrypt it. Obviously this is for the Windows OS, but similarly we have .sh script if you want to use it on the Linux or Unix. And based on the password, whether you use a plain or then encrypted password, there is another property called use.encryption, which has to be set true if you want to pass a encrypted password. But in case if you're passing a plain password, we set it as false. But we highly recommend you to pass a encrypted password over here. And rest of the property, can remain as it is until unless, there is any specific reason to change them. And some other configurations are parameter set file which needs to be uploaded. It has to be first created with sections, and that will contain all the parameter and the value. And the parameter set will be uploaded through the parameter set CLI utility, which I discussed. And the different option that it comes with is upload, delete, list, download, which we will see further in the presentation. And the parameter set, it has to be defined with it has to be uploaded with some name, and that name will be defined in the task flow, where we will call that parameter set, which we will see further. So this param set CLI utility, what is its user, right? I told you, like, there are different options that we have, like we can upload the parameter set with this utility, we can download, we can list, and we can delete. So let's see each one of them. So with the upload, right, I mean, you can use this param set CLI utility to upload a parameter set to the cloud hosted repository using this command. So I mentioned the command over here, and using this command, we can upload it to the hosted repository. So one thing that I want to mention here is that, so for this parameter set, when we try to upload, first it has to be, defined into a file, which this file will be stored locally on your system. Like if you see here, this is where, it is referring to the location, C Informatica parameter, and where the parameter file PF that represents the file name. So this first, it has to be created in a file, all the sections, the parameter value, everything will be defined in that file. And then using this utility, that file gets uploaded as parameter set on the cloud hosted repository. So this is how, you upload that parameter set to the cloud. And then when you upload it through the command line, you will see this message which will say that it has been uploaded successfully. You can download that as well. So let's say there are some parameter set which has been, already uploaded to the cloud hosted repository, and you don't have a copy of that, right? I mean, as I said previously here in the upload section, that you upload that first. For that, first you create a file which you locally store, and then upload it through this command line, which will upload it to the cloud hosted repository. But let's say someone else in your team has uploaded that, and you want to see what is the content of that, right? Because there is no way to see the content of the parameters of that parameter set using this parameter set CLI utility. But instead, you can download that file from the cloud hosted repository, and when you download it, you will get a copy of that, and you can see what are all the different entries over there. And just in case, if you want to modify it, you can just modify that and re-upload that. So using this download option, you can download that file, and every parameter set has to be uploaded with a unique name. And this is the syntax to download the parameter set. And then there is a delete option as well with this parameter set CLI utility. So just in case, if you want to delete that existing parameter set, which is already uploaded in the cloud hosted repository, you can do that by passing that parameter set name and then passing this option as delete. So this is going to delete that from the cloud hosted repository. And then if you want to see what are all the different parameter set that is present in that cloud hosted repository for your org, you can see that using this list command. So this will tell you like who created that, what is the parameter set file name, what is the from which directory it has been uploaded, who last modified it, and when it was created. So all those kind of information, it will show you through this command line utility. So yeah, I mean, so when you upload that for the first time, and let's say if there is some changes that has to be done, there are two ways. Either you delete that parameter set file and re-upload the new one, or we have an option, to overwrite that existing one in the cloud hosted repository directly itself using -f at the last as a option here in the script. So when you call that, you can use, like if you see here, it's -f is used. So this is just going to, overwrite the existing one. So you don't have to delete it, but instead, you can overwrite it. So they were some of the options, on how do you use that, right? So let me go now. How do you implement that and the task flow? So in the task flow, this parameter set name has to be defined on the start task. So if you see here, this is a task flow, and on the start task here, and if you go to the start tab here, you will see a parameter set option over here, and then here you have to define the name of the parameter set, the unique name that with which you have uploaded into the cloud hosted repository. So that name has to be passed over here, and it should be, it should be defined here. So the parameter set is, as I said earlier, the parameter set is used to define any value that for the parameter which has been used at the task flow level. So one example would be the email task. So, based on certain condition, let's say we want some failure email or success email, you can define that the parameter within that email, like, if let's say this is an email, right, and based on that previous condition, whether you want to send an, let's say if it failed, and then you want to send an email to the user that that particular task has failed, then you can you can do that. And then while sending that email, you can very well parameterize those some of the stuff, like email ID, what is the email subject. So those kind of things you can parameterize so that you can reuse that across multiple objects. I mean, not reusing, but just that you don't have to do any changes in the code, and everything will be taken care through the parameter, right? That is the whole purpose of this parameter. So like here in this example, let's say this email, I want to I have defined a parameter name for this, and then for the even the subject I have defined a parameter, and these parameters, so whatever the parameter that you define at the task flow level, all those parameters has to be added inside the start task under the input fields. So if you see here, they all has to be added first. So any parameter that you use, it has to be added over here, and then once you add it, that's when the parameter set will take that value from there. It will take the value from the parameter set. So values for this parameters will be taken from that parameter set, which the parameter from this parameter set which you have defined over here. So just to give you an example, let's say this is the parameter set, which has been uploaded. And if you see the parameter name and its value has been passed in this parameter set, which is uploaded. And this is another parameter and its value. So they will be read directly from that parameter set here. Obviously, you have to define this at the start task level. Another use case that I discussed was, in case if you want to pass the parameter file path and the file name to any data task, this parameter set can be used. So instead of hard coding that path and the file name over here, what we can do is like, we can assign that, we can set that as a variable, as a parameter, and then pass that and assign the value as the path of that parameter. And then also for that parameter file name, we can just assign some parameter and then pass the actual file name over here. So in that way, we can avoid any hard coding, because otherwise, like, you have to, if you don't want to use the parameter set, and then if you want to pass the parameter for this mapping task, let's say for this example here, then you have to define, okay, where that parameter file is located and the file parameter, and then what is the file name, right? So just to avoid that, we can use the parameter set. And instead here, we define those path and the file name in the parameter set. And here in the assignment task, what we can do is like we can assign that particular parameter. So for here as an example, for path, we have passed this as a parameter and the value is this. Similarly, for this file name, we have passed this parameter, which is this parameter, and the value is this. So during the runtime, these jobs will take the value from the parameter set, and then accordingly, it will go and assign to that data task. So this will help you to avoid any hard-coded file name or the path to any data task. And this is the format of the parameter file, and eventually this file will get uploaded to the cloud hosted repository as a parameter set. So if you see here, we have used this use section, and then there are some global parameter, and then there are some task flow related parameter. So this is how the parameter set is defined. So there are some rules and guidelines, which we should follow with respect to this parameter set. First thing is, you always use the use section in the parameter file, which gets uploaded as a parameter set. Otherwise, if you don't use that, when the job runs, the task flow runs, it will consider everything as global, and it will treat everything as global. So if, let's say, if there are some parameters which is defined at the global level, and also at the and also at the that particular task flow level, so ideally the precedence should be, it should take it from that task flow level. But since the use section is not defined, probably it will take everything from the global. So it's very necessary to use the use section in the parameter. any changes to the parameter set can be overwritten with without deleting, right? And I discussed this earlier. So if you use -f in here in this upload section here, then you don't need to delete that, but it will just go and override the existing one. So that is very useful. So always try to use -f just in case if you want to override the existing one. The parameter, there is one limitation that the parameter set file size should not exceed 5 MB. So that is another thing that we have to take care. And just in case, if the input, if there is some parameter and you don't provide the input value for that, then by default, the task flow will take the default value of whatever the data type that it belongs to. Like, let's say if it is, you have defined it as string, then it will take as null. If you have defined it as integer, then it will take as 0. Let's say if you have defined it as boolean, then it will take it as false, and so on. Like, depending on the different data type, it will take the default values. And then as I said, like the values of any parameter is global unless you present any section. And just in case if the same parameter is found, basically the first section is given the preference. So yeah, these are all some rules and guidelines which we should consider while configuring and when creating those parameter set. So I created a KB article on this with a use case. So you can refer this using this link. And then also there are some helpful documents which is present on our Informatica site, so which can be referred here. So now let me go to the demo, and we'll show you like how this is defined. So whatever I discussed with respect to the parameter set in IICS, I'm going to demo you this, and we'll discuss and show you like how this parameter set is actually used within the task flow. So let me pull up any one mapping. So let me just go and find it. So I have connected to IICS environment, and let's say we have a task flow here. And if you see, it's taking some time to open. So this task flow, if you see, this is where I was saying all the parameters set, the name of the parameter set is defined over here. So if you go to this start task and go to the start, here you will see an option called parameter set. So initially, by default, it will not be enabled. So you have to request a CSM to enable this, and then once it is enabled, you will start seeing this parameter set over here. And this is where you have to define the name of the parameter set, which is uploaded to the Informatica Cloud repository. And this parameter file, it has to be uploaded through the paramset CLI command line utility that I had discussed, and I will show you in a minute like how do we upload it. So once you assign the parameter set name over here, whatever is inside this, right, like here. So if you see, this is the actual parameter set, like just for an example. So it has all the use sections, the global section, and then the task level parameter. So this if you see, this is specific to this task flow, and this whatever parameter that is being used for this task flow, that is defined here. So for example, like, in this task, let's say I have some email task like here. So this email task will get triggered whenever, this execution has failed, right? So when it goes to that email task, we have defined some parameter here, like, the email address, what is the email subject, and also what is the email body content, right? So those are all parameterized, and since they are at the task flow level, the only way we can get the values for this parameter is through parameter set. So as discussed earlier, so you can parameterize them, and as I said earlier, right, this parameter has to be defined here over go to the start and input field. Those parameters has to be assigned, created over here. You need to add them over here, and then the value for this parameter, you can define them in the parameter set file. And this is the parameter set file, which you will create in the beginning, and eventually, this will get uploaded to the Informatica Cloud repository through using that param set CLI utility. So you will define all those values here, like for example, for this email address list here, like if you see, I have provided the email address list here, fail address list, right? So the fail address list. So this is the email address, and what is the value for this. So if you go to this task flow dim location, and if you look for this subject for CF, you will see that over here, the subject for CF. So the value will be taken from here for this one. Similarly, for the content, this will come from here for the CF. So it will come from here. So yeah, so this is how, the value will be read from that parameter set. So basically, when the job runs, it will just go and look for this. If you have defined the parameter set, it will go and read that parameter set, and it will try to get all the value from there. So this is one scenario, where you can whatever the parameter that you define at the task flow level, you can pass it in the parameter set. The other scenario that I was talking about was, passing the parameter file name and the location to any data task, right? Like example, this is one data task, and then if you see the data task, it requires some parameter value. So if you see before that, we have assigned we have a assignment task here, and this assignment task will assign the parameter file path and the name, and which this data task will refer to. So if you see here, what we have done is, like, we have assigned that a parameter file directory, and what is the parameter file name that we have assigned it to this task, this data task. And similarly, there is another data task to which we have done the assignment from here. And in both the scenario, both the case, if you see, we have just passed the parameter name here, and this parameter name, for this parameter, the value is assigned in the parameter set file. So if you see the input mapping task parameter file dir, this is over here. Here. So input parameter task parameter file dir underscore video. Oh, sorry, it's over here. File dir here. So the value will come here. So basically, when we run this will get this location. So it will get this location. And then similarly, this is the parameter file name. So this is the parameter file name. So this will get it will come and read this this parameter file. And this parameter file is located on our shared folder. So where this the secure agent have access to that, and it will go and read that file eventually. So that's how you can define the parameter in the parameter set. Now, how do you upload this, right? So let's say first of all, how does this parameter set CLI utility looks. So as I said earlier in my presentation, that you don't need to install anything as such, but there is a zip file for parameter CLI, and you can unzip it. And when you unzip it, it will just unzip all the binary here. And this is the REST env dot properties file that I was discussing, where you have to pass in your user ID and the password. And the password, you can pass a plain password, or you can pass an encrypted password here. And this is just one folder that I have created, where I will be keeping all those I will keep all those parameters files that I will use to upload it to the cloud. So like example, this is the one of the parameter file, right, which the job is using it. So now we know that for the parameter set file, it has to be uploaded to the cloud, right? I mean, the cloud or set repository. So how do we do that, right? This is through the command line utility. So I have the command line utility, and if you see, I have, this param set cli.bat, which is the script, which is the command script basically for all the locations. So let's say, for an example, let's say if I want to upload this demo test.prm file, right? So how do I do that? So for that, we first go to that param set CLI folder here, and then here we will run that this param set CLI.bat. And for that, we have the command, we have the format, right? And so this is the format. So basically you just call this script, and then this is the function, and then -un, which gives you like what is the parameter set name that you want. And this is like, this represent what is the file that you are trying to upload. So here, this is the file name, right? So I've just mentioned this file name, and then what is the directory where that file is located basically, and then what action that you want to perform. So I want to upload it, and -f is like, if you are uploading anything and which is already present, and you want to replace the existing one without deleting it, then you can use -f over here. Otherwise, you don't need to do that. Or either you delete the existing one and then upload it again. But if you do -f, it is just going to replace your existing one. So let's say if we just run this, this will just run it, and it will say the successfully completed. So now if you want to see if it has been uploaded, then there is a list action, right? So with the list action, you can just go ahead and see, and you will see that, see, if you see, this is already updated, and here is the one, which got updated, demo test.prm. And this was the location of that, and this is uploaded by me, and it was created today. So this is how you can see whether it got uploaded or not. Now let's say if you want to delete the existing one which has already been download the existing one which has already been uploaded. So what I have done is, like, I have created a download folder here, and I want everything to be downloaded over here. So I can very well do that through this command. Basically same thing, like I'm just calling this script, and this is the function, and then this is the parameter set name, and then this is the file name that I want to download. The file that gets downloaded, I want to name it this one, and then where I want to download that, and this is the function. So if I just do that, okay, so it's downloading and running the download action, and it says that it has been downloaded over here. So now if I go to this download, see, this is where I see this file got downloaded. And then similarly, if you want to delete it, you can delete this as well. So so let's say if I want to delete it, I have to write that query basically, and it will be like this one. So if I want to delete it, what I can do is I can just take this one and run it. So what it is going to do is, like, it is just going to delete that from the cloud repository. So this is how, this param set CLI utility is used to either, upload, delete, or list any of those parameters. So yeah, I think I just covered like how do you use the param set CLI utility, how do you implement that param set in the task flow level, and then I just covered both the scenarios like uh, if any parameter that you use at the task flow level, you can use the parameter set, or if you want to pass that the parameter file directory or the file name for this for any data task, you can use that. So let's say, so now if I want to run it, I just do R1 over here, and then the job starts here. And if you see, this is the first session that starts. So it just queued up and then it completed successfully. And if you see, just because we added that parameter set for its parameter file path and the file name, see, this is the value that it took it, which is this parameter directory, and then this is the file name. And eventually, this job will refer this parameter file, which is located on the shared file system for secure agent. This all the parameter value will be read from this file. So, and all the jobs will run, and then will read that file. So wherever that parameter file is needed, it will read that parameter file, and wherever the parameter set is needed, the values, it will read it from there. So this is how the parameter set is implemented. I hope this session will be useful for everyone, and now I'm happy to take any questions.
Hi all, we have reached the Q&A part. Please post your questions so Pawan can answer.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I have some questions which I've already answered to the audience, and feel free to ask any question, but I will just go through some of the, the question which was asked. So one question which was, which many people was looking for with respect to the license, right? Like they were asking, like if we want to use this parameter set feature or parameter set CLI utility, is there any license implication? So generally, there is no additional license requirement for this. And, by default, this feature is not enabled for your org. So you have to either reach out to your customer success manager, or you have to reach out to the sales team, whoever is applicable, to enable this feature, this parameter set feature for your org. And once this is enabled, then you will be able to you will be able to use this feature. And then with respect to the parameter set CLI utility, there is no nothing required from sales team. It's just there is a link where we can download this utility and you can get going. So you don't require any license or anything else for that. Okay, so there is one question like, how do you create dynamic parameter values during the task flow run and use the same value during the task flow run? So this is more related to the, the parameter file, I believe, that you are asking, like, how do you create the parameter, dynamic parameter, right, during the task flow run. So I think there can be multiple ways of doing creating those parameter files. I mean, this parameter set is mostly used as we discussed in the presentation. This parameter set is mostly used to define any parameter value which is defined at the task flow level, not at the not at the mapping task or mapping task level parameter. Still, you can handle it through the parameter file. So So for this parameter set, what you have to do is like, if you have any parameter which is used at the task flow level and there is no reference to that in any of the mapping tasks, then what you can do is like you can create a parameter file where you add that parameter name and the parameter value over there, and then use this parameter set CLI utility to upload that to the to the cloud hosted repository and just define that name, and then your task flow should start using that parameter a value from that parameter set. That's how So this is like a file that you have to first create it, enter the value, and there is nothing as such any dynamic thing with respect to the parameter set yet at this point. Maybe it will be there in the future, but right now you have to create that file. And with respect to there were some questions related to the encryption. So yeah, I mean, we have an utility to encrypt the password. So you have to enter the user ID password in the REST env that property file, and there you can encrypt your password. And then once you encrypt your password, Informatica is going to read you, because this encryption has been done through our utility. So so I mean, it will never decrypt it. We always encrypt it, but we never decrypt any password. So I think from there there won't be any issues. You can use the decrypted password. And one question is like, what should be the username password in the properties file? So it should be your usual, the login to the IICS user ID password, because when you upload that behind the scene, it still try to connect to that cloud using your credential, and then that's how it will identify which org you are supposed to connect to, and then it will upload that parameter set to that respective org. And then another question was related to like how do you define that parameter set? So basically you have to manually provide the parameter set name, and as such there is no drop down list available as of now. So whatever the parameter set that is available in a cloud hosted repository, you have to manually provide the name. There is no drop down list as such as of now. That feature is not there. I think these were some of the, and then if you have two different parameter set file, and if you want to use it at this point, you have to change the parameter set file name. Okay, so there are some new questions coming up. So I have a param file on infra server. Does local parameter file work the same way as cloud? Parameter file on the infra server, does local param file works the same way as cloud param? So the difference between this param file on your infra server versus the cloud hosted repository is that infra server is basic, the parameter file that you have on the infra server, that is on the physical server, right? But this parameter set is on the cloud. So any changes that you have to do, you have to always upload it to the cloud repository, versus in the if you have a parameter file on the infra server, you just go and just change the parameter in the parameter file. But here it's a little different, right? So since this is on cloud repository, you have to change the parameter in the file and then upload that. So there are two ways, right? Either you can delete the existing parameter set on the cloud and then just upload the new one, or you can replace with the existing one. So, but yeah, that has to go through the cloud repository. I mean, through the param set CLI utility, and then upload it to the cloud. When to use parameter set and parameter file, and what are the advantages of using the parameter set? So parameter set, normally we recommend to use it when you have any parameter, which is defined as task flow level. Let's say in the task flow level, so in the task flow level, you call some mapping task, right? So for that, you can handle them through the parameter file. But let's say in the task flow, based on certain, condition, you want to add like email task, example, which is at the task flow level only. And then you want to, as I gave an example in the presentation, if in that email task, if you want to parameterize the email body and then subject, right? So you cannot do it in any mapping, through the parameter file. So you have to do it as a parameter set, because that task is at the task flow level, that email task, and all the parameters is at the task flow level. So those kind of scenario, where you want to use any parameter which is specific at the task flow level, you have to put them into the parameter set and upload it to the cloud, and then define that how I described, and then the task flow will start taking that parameter, start reading that parameter file from the parameter set. And the advantages is that one advantage is that you don't. So basically, one big advantage with the parameter set feature is that you can. So like in task flow, if you have multiple mapping tasks, right, data tasks, and you have to pass. Let's say you have a parameter file on your infra server, and you want those mapping tasks to read those parameter files with you have to pass the parameter file directory and then path, right? So let's say your Informatica, the IICS, secure agent is is using infra shared location for all the files, right? If you have multiple secure agent, and then you have set up a grid-like structure, and then you want to have a file on the infra shared location. So in that scenario, you don't have to pass you don't have to hard code the file path and the file name. Instead, what you can do is like you can just parameterize the file name and the file path into the parameter set, and just pass that parameter value inside the mapping task. Assign it with the assignment task. You should be able to assign it to that the exact parameter file path and the name through the command through the assignment task. And when you run your job, it will take directly from the parameter set what is the exact path and the value. So that is what I have shown that in the presentation. How do you use it? So that is a big advantage of the parameter set, where you don't have to. Otherwise, like if you don't have the parameter set, then how will you assign those parameter path and the value, right? So you have to go through the assignment task where you have to assign the path with the hard-coded values and the hard-coded file path name. So that can be avoided through the parameter set. So that is one big advantage. One question is, should every developer's credential be entered in the properties file because anyone can upload? Not necessary. If you are doing it through your local system, and this the parameter set can be uploaded through your local system, right? You can download, unzip those properties, that parameter set CLI utility on your local system, and then you want to use it from your local system. You can use your credential and you can just upload it. And if you have like a common place where you want developers to go there and upload it just from there, then any credential should be okay. And as long as that credential has access to that IICS, it should be able to upload the parameter set. Yeah, I don't see any other question. Okay, wait, there are two more questions. How would you recommend using a parameter set for different environment? Normally we have a parameter set for each environment, and all of them have the same name but different values. So with respect to this, right, if you have a different environment, that depends, right? Like if your dev, test, and prod environment is on a different org, if it is in a different org, then yeah, very well you can have the same parameter set name and get uploaded, because eventually all those parameters set will get uploaded to that respective org. So if you have a separate org, then yeah, you can use the same name and then you can have them, a different one. But if it is within the same org, then you need to provide, a different name. Again, that depends, right? Like if you have a sub-org within that, or how that is structured, right? But within the same org, you cannot upload two parameter set of the same name. So it has to be a different name. But yeah, if you have a different org, as I said, you can very well, upload it as a set to the respective org with that same name, because it will be residing in their respective org. I think I answered this. What is the use? What is the use of parameter set versus parameter file? I think I already answered that. The parameter set is more for the workflow level parameter, whereas the parameter file is mostly for the mapping task and other regular work, the parameter that you do. But parameter set is mostly for the workflow, task flow level parameter.
Okay, and thank you, Pawan, for this amazing session. And we would like to inform that all Tech Tuesday webinar will be available on our Success portal under the Resources tab. Today's webinar will be available tomorrow, where you can view the recording and also download the slide deck. Please fill in the survey, as your feedback is important to us. And with that, we will end today's webinar. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.